Hi gorgeous! Today's video is a battle of the luxury foundations. So I have put 8 luxury foundations to the test. I'll be showing you what they look like in application and letting you know how they wore throughout the day with real-time check-ins so you can see for yourself the kind of results that you get. As reference, I have an oily complexion. I live in Florida, very humid down here, and Chanel has decided to discontinue one of my favorite foundations. If you're wondering which one it is, it's the Perfection Lumiere. This was my go-to foundation. It looked beautiful on the skin, lasted a ridiculously long time, and now I'm trying to find a foundation to replace it. Just as a heads up, I'm not going to be showing you the full size of these foundation bottles because I went with samples for testing purposes within this video, and I used my Schwa subscription to get these samples. And if you're not familiar with what Schwa is, it's basically one of those subscription boxes that allows you to sample high-end and luxury products. They charge $15 a month. You get to choose 5 high-end samples of your choice to try at your leisure. And in addition to that, you can also purchase samples at $5 a piece. And I can't tell you how much money it has saved me over the years with using this service and discovering what works for me and what doesn't. So if you're interested in checking them out, I'll have their website listed for you below. And by the way, to save time while making this video, the way that I tested these foundations is I would apply 2 at one time. So one on one half of my face, one on the other half of my face. First foundation I tested out for this video is the Tarte Water Foundation. On initial application, it did have a rather runny consistency I noticed when it first came out of the tube. It does need to be shaken before application. It blends in so nicely and looks like skin. You really can't tell that you have anything on your face after application, and that to me is one of the top qualities that I'm looking for in a foundation. This one reminded me a lot of my Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Fluid Foundation in terms of consistency, the application, and the end result. So I did have high hopes for it. How did it look at the end of the day? Well, after wearing it for 10 hours, it still looked beautiful. Looked like my skin, wasn't cakey, didn't move, didn't break down, and it's one of those that is very comparable to the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Fluid Foundation. And I think it is a little bit cheaper than that one too. And then I tested out Dolce & Gabbana's Perfect Matte Foundation. Now this one had a solid consistency, very different from the Tarte one that I just reviewed for you, so it was really easy to work with and apply onto the face. But after I applied it, it felt like it was sitting on top of my skin, and I could tell where it did not blend in certain areas around my face. And after 10 hours, despite my initial qualms with it during application, it looked pretty good at the end of the day. It did settle into my skin. It wasn't sitting on top so much after 10 hours was up. Didn't move, didn't look cakey, but this is still one that I'm on the fence with, that I don't love, but I don't hate. Next up is Lancome's Dual Finish Powder Foundation, and this is one of the few full sizes that I'm going to be sharing with you here. It was one that I purchased while Sephora was doing their 20% off VIB Rouge sale recently. So I said, what the heck, let's give it a try. This one does have a flowery scent to it when you first apply it, but it doesn't linger. It dissipates quite quickly after initial application. It does blur imperfections beautifully. It's a lighter coverage powder. It's not medium to full coverage by any means. So if you need fuller coverage, this would not be the right one for you. But I like how quick it was to apply. I like how it made the skin look after application. And I like how fast it was to use. After wearing it for 10 hours, it looked pretty good for a powder foundation. It was dewy on the skin, but it wasn't shiny. It was not fully matte to the touch though, but it didn't move, and it looked pretty good for a powder foundation. But this is one of those that I have used quite often since doing that wear test for you on camera. And what I will tell you is that depending on outdoor conditions, it does change in wear time. And there have been a couple days when it doesn't last longer than 6 hours on my skin before it is a shiny mess. So this is one that I'm still on the fence with. I don't really love it, but I don't hate it. And I say that because it's so easy to touch up, because it is a powder foundation, that I could still use it like that. But it's not one that I would wear, let's say, for a special occasion or any time when I didn't want to spend time babysitting my makeup. I wouldn't recommend it for those type of occasions. Another powder foundation that I tested out was from Gvency. This is their Skin Powder Foundation. It does not have a scent, which is really nice because I don't particularly care for scents when it comes to my face products. Has very light coverage because it is a powder foundation. It layers nicely, but it's not as pigmented as the Lancome powder that I just talked about, but it does give you beautiful, even coverage on the skin. And after wearing this one for 10 hours, it was a little shiny on the T-zone, but if I combined it with a primer, which I did later on, I could extend the wear. Now, unlike most powders, it didn't move around the face or break down, and this is one that has been consistent in wear time since I started using it. I've used it about 4 times since doing that wear test on camera for you, and each time it's performed exactly the same. Another luxury foundation I tested out for you is the Clé de Peau Silky Cream Foundation. This has a very thick consistency like the Dolce and Gabbana one I talked about previously, and it blends in very nicely, and it gives you what I would consider medium coverage on the skin. But after wearing this one for 10 hours, the shine breakthrough that you get with this one is ridiculous, especially for the price point that Clé de Peau is charging for this foundation. And this is one of those foundations that I would not be comfortable with wearing all day because I would have to sit there and babysit it and monitor it. And I really just want a foundation that I can put on and not have to worry about what it looks like by the end of the day. This was not it. Another luxury foundation that I tried out for you for this video is the Gvency Blurring Foundation Balm. This has very light coverage. So light that it did not cover my freckles. And I typically don't like that, but it did give a very beautiful finish on the skin. Now, I did feel like this foundation had a yellow tint to it, which usually scares me because yellow tint foundations can look kind of horrible on me, but it blended into the skin nicely and you couldn't tell after the initial application. However, after wearing this one for 10 hours, I was very disappointed by it. My face looked very shiny. It had moved around my nose by the end of the day. It just disappeared in that area. So this one is not one that was a favorite of mine or one that I'll be purchasing in the future. Next up is Tom Ford's Traceless Perfecting Foundation. This one was very easy to apply and it gave my skin medium coverage. It was very beautiful. It was hard to detect. It was one of those that looked like your own skin after application, which I love. It does have a rather flowery perfume scent that tends to linger even after you've applied it, which I don't really care for. It was gone by the end of the day, but you can still smell it for about the first 2 hours after you apply it. And after wearing it for 10 hours, for this price tag, I expected more. It looked rather shiny. It did move around my face more than I would have liked for it to. And like I said, for the price that you pay for this stuff, it really should have performed better in my opinion. Now, Chanel did come out with a new foundation. I thought, well, let me give it a try, see if it is as good as my Perfection Lumiere. So I kept an open mind with it. But the problem with this one is that if you don't blend it in immediately, you can't blend it in. It's one of those where you can only do half of your face at a time and you almost have to apply it and then blend immediately. You cannot let it sit on your skin, otherwise it looks a hot mess. It's a very difficult formula to work with in my opinion, but the finished results are really beautiful with this one. It does have a very perfumed scent, but it does not linger after application. And after wearing it for 10 hours, it does hold up rather nicely on the skin. It doesn't look overtly shiny, it looks more dewy. It did not move, it doesn't look cakey, but I'm still on the fence with this one because a foundation for me should apply nicely. It shouldn't be difficult to work with, and it should last a long time too. So I got 1 out of 2 with this one, but I still don't love it. So out of all the foundations that I tested for you in today's video, the top 2 that I loved the most, and there's only 2, are the Tarte Water Foundation and the Gvency Skin Powder Foundation. Those 2 met my expectations and then some, and I'll probably go out and get the full size of these to use in the future. The worst ones that really disappointed me was the Chanel one and the Clé de Peau Silky Cream Foundation, especially for that price tag. Whoa! And if you're looking for luxury powder recommendations, I did do a video specifically on powders in this same format a couple weeks back that I will also have linked below for you as well. Let me know what you thought about today's foundations, or if you have a favorite that was not mentioned. Would love to hear your recommendations as well. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again next time.